Good evening. I'm Mark Smith. I'm the host and creator of a series called The Process. I got a couple phone calls and emails and text message this week because I announced something that was important, and this is going to be my last live show for a while. Due to I need to concentrate on some other things that are continuing to grow, and the process could not grow without thanking each one of you for being a part of it. So again, for all my prior live guests, all my future live guests, and all my pre-recorded shows, I want to thank you in advance. Now, this past Saturday, I had the opportunity to be a guest on another podcast, the Heartland Podcast, which is based out of Charlotte, North Carolina. And the young lady kind of helped me guide or put a thought in my mind about what I want this final live session to be about. And she asked me, she said, Mark, what happened to you when you were through your adolescent years to your preteen years to your adult years? What was the methodology that you had that set you apart and really made you take a stand and look where you were to move to the next level? And I thought long and hard about it. I used to say, I was called to do this, or this particular industry didn't find, I didn't find it, it found me. But then I did a little reassessment and I had to really go back and think about what it was that I was doing and where I was. And the fact of the matter is, my life, I lived a lot of it as transactional when I should have been living transformational. And what do I mean by that? I mean that a lot of times we go through life and we do things that are what we're going to talk about tonight, selfish. But it may not be the same selfish as what you may think of and what I kind of alluded to. It's something that's powerful. And if you know me, you know I'm going to come with an acronym and words that's going to hit that word selfish. So for tonight, bottoms up, the process, we're going to get started. All right, welcome back. Before we get started tonight, I want to say a special thank you to Dr. Natasha Porter, a beacon of light, health, behavioral health, that's actually in Kentucky, has offices in Kentucky as well as in Ohio. She actually reached out to me and is now a sponsor of the process. So again, I'm so blessed and honored to know that we're doing things right. So again, thank you, Dr. Porter. Wow, what a show do I have tonight? Man, I've got two great friends. One on right in my backyard, and the other a little further south from me. This young lady is doing some amazing things that only she can tell you about. When you talk about adversity, she's gone through adversity. When you talk about perseverance, she definitely perseveres. But yet and still, she always does it with a smile on her face. I want to welcome first Miss Karen Clark Redden. Karen, good evening. How are you?
Good evening. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm fabulous. I'm fabulous. Why don't you do us a favor? Why don't you tell our listeners tonight a little bit about who you are?
Great. Thank you. First of all, Mark, thank you so much for having me on this last show. This is such an honor. Again, everyone, my name is Karen Clark Redden. I am the owner and the CEO of Devonshire, which is a perfect events company. And that was just really stemmed out of my desire to help people. I love helping people and I love helping people have a good time. So I started an event planning company where we make every day an adventure and we help all of our clients really bring their vision to life. And I'm excited to be here. I just want to let Mark know that I thank him for inviting me to be a guest on this show.
No, thank you. Thank you. It's truly an honor to have you. Next gentleman, I reached out to him a couple months back, and he actually helped record and help put some things together for my radio show on star107fm.com. And when I reached him, I said, Sean, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to potentially be on my live show as well. And he said, man, no problem. I'm there. I'm there, Mark. All you gotta do is call me. So I left him a message. The phone immediately rang right back, and he said, "I'm there, man. Whatever you need, I'm there." Mr. Sean Banks in Atlanta, GA. Sean, good evening. How are you?
Hey, Mark, what's going on, man?
All right, brother. Tell everybody a little bit about who Sean Banks is.
Absolutely. Uh, my background is youth development, and I've spent the last over 20 years of my life developing youth. We started with I Am Defense, which is a personal defense program teaching women and children how to defend themselves. From there, we went to Camp Warrior King, which is a youth development camp in the Atlanta area that serves thousands of kids every season with fun activities. You Can Have It All Youth Conference, which is an international conference designed to motivate kids to go after their dreams. And the You Can Have It All Youth Magazine, which is the only motivational magazine of its kind in the world. And we've reached about 10 different countries so far and counting. So, man, really excited about that. Excited to be on the show, man. Thank you so much for having me. And you look clean in those videos, man. I saw those suits, man. You let me get one of those. Huh?
You,
Yeah.
look, I'll bring it to you. But
All
wait a minute,
right.
we got the event planner, so the event planner tonight can help put that make that happen. So I'll bring it to
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. That was
Again,
perfect.
thank both of you for joining me tonight. I want to get started with something that I always start with, and that is having a conversation about what the process means to each of you both. I know for me, again, since I wrote about it, I always go back and think about evolution, how where I started from, and I'm not where I truly want to be, but I'm working in the right direction. So for you, I'm gonna start with you, Karen. What does the process mean to you and in your everyday life?
In everyday life, for me, it really means the process is all about, like you said it, evolving. I actually use two different mascots, if you will. I use a phoenix because it to me stands for being reborn, rebirth, coming back stronger than you were before. And I also like the butterfly because the butterfly and all the changes and the transformations that they go through. The process is not always easy, but if you keep pushing, you'll find yourself growing. You'll not even recognize yourself at the end from the beginning because you have transformed. So the process for me is something that is, like I said, it's the phoenix. Especially speaking because I've gone through a fire. So the phoenix, having gone through the fire and coming back stronger, that's really where I am and how I live my life. Just making sure that I continue to persevere and push forward.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Sean? What does the process mean to you in your
Uh,
life?
Well, I think what Karen said was awesome. I think it's spot on with both animals. For me, the process is enjoying the journey. Success is progressive, and so the journey is really where we get the enjoyment out of it. The good and the bad. Just enjoying that process and being happy through that time, right? Because we can make our process what it is. We can make it easier for ourselves. We can make it harder based on our attitudes and how we're gonna, choose to persevere through our situations.
Absolutely, I agree. And again, for those of you who are listening tonight, again, please, we want your comments. Please weigh in. Please ask questions of my friends tonight. Again, it's so important that we have an opportunity to dialogue with you, and definitely they're here to answer all your questions because I'm going to hit them with some questions, and I'm sure they got some for me as well. I want to talk about something that is pretty significant, and that's change. And I always felt that in the aspect of change, most people don't change until the pain of staying the same is greater than actually changing. But also know that I've always said that comfort is a casualty of growth. So I'm gonna start with you, Shine, right now. I'm gonna ask you a question. When has in terms of change for you, change definitely is hard at first. It's messy in the middle, but it's rewarding in the end. Can you identify a time when a change that you made met all three of those criteria? Hard at first, messy in the middle, but rewarding at the end.
Absolutely. Working with youth was that process for me. It was very difficult in the beginning because I couldn't stand kids. Mark, I could, hey boy, I didn't like kids at all. I didn't want to work with kids. I didn't want to have anything to do with kids. And so that was very hard for me. And what I found is I really had a confidence issue. I wasn't sure if I was able to do it. The things that I was being told to do, the inputs that were being put into my spirit about what I need to do with youth, I lack confidence in that area. And so it was very, very difficult. The process in the middle of those things that happened, I mean, man, from just getting started, the challenges of hiring and trying to figure out how to do that. I mean, losing my savings, trying to figure out how to build these businesses and owing people money and trying to get all that stuff figured out was very, very difficult. But in the end, what I do now, I wouldn't want to do anything else in the world, because I have a heart for it, and I actually am seeing changes in what it is that I'm doing. I'm seeing God work, and so that's the most beautiful thing right now, is just being able to see that happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Karen, what about you? When change was hard at first, messy in the middle, and rewarding in the end.
Absolutely, and I like what Sean said in terms of the building of the businesses and having that be a challenge. That's absolutely a challenge. One of the things that kind of stick with me when you bring up that question is becoming a better me. That has actually been the change that has been the most challenging for myself, as well as the most rewarding, because I'm a quiet person. I'm laid back. I'm not, in your face kind of person. So in that change, what I've heard a lot is people say you should be, speaking, you should mentor people. So I've kind of found that I've indirectly mentored people. And in that change, I had to become a better person. I had to go through some changes. I had to go from standing in the background and being quiet to really stepping in the forefront and stepping into what I was called to do. And that's kind of how my business came about, was because I love seeing people have a good time. And I love that whole process. But in being quiet and in the background, I didn't step forward a lot. So that change and working through and helping people and doing those different things kind of helped me to grow. The messy part kind of came when I was trying to figure it out. As we grow as people, we kind of take missteps and we make mistakes. And so I could go into a lot of different challenges that I've had in my personal life to kind of grow through. But that is where the messiness came from. And then where I am now is just so rewarding. Being a mom, being a wife, being a business owner, and actually seeing the fruit of the labor and all of that struggle. That's what change has done with me.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to come back because I got two questions for both of you. But I think what you said, both of you said, definitely, it truly epitomizes what I talk about a lot of times with growth. Gradual reminder that obstacles in our lives will definitely test our hope. And I look at even today, what I'm embarking on right now, what I started, back 3 years, just 3 short years ago, and how I was so unsure that this was going to be the right thing to do. And I just remember just hearing something, a voice whisper in my mind saying, "Dare to be different. Dare to be different. What you don't have any, Mark? What do you have to lose? This is something that you definitely can fulfill, and that you can definitely change lives. But you got to do what Sean talked about, is have the confidence, and what you just talked about as well, Karen, is remove yourself from the background and come to the foreground of all of it. So I start with you, Karen. What was that? I guess that defining moment that you said, "Hey, I got to get out of the background and work my way into the front to take charge to make these things happen."
To be honest, it was my daughter. My daughter is my ultimate inspiration. She's 13 now, and we have gone through her going to school and doing different changes. And so, fifth grade, she decided she didn't want to go to school for different reasons. So she actually started homeschooling. And knowing that she looks at me every day, and I'm looking at her, I look at children as a blank slate. I'm kind of like Sean. It's like, okay, well, I come from a huge family. I'm the second oldest of over 100 first cousins. So being around kids has been something that's all my life. But I didn't know if I was ready to have my own. So having my daughter has inspired me beyond belief, because she's ultimate. She's amazing. Um, She's her own person. Even at 13, she's already a best-selling author. She's already a certified speaker. These are all the things that I'm able to pour into her and see her grow. Not what I want to do, because I haven't written a book. Those different things. So she's doing all these different things, and seeing that kind of made me say, you know what, it's time for you to step up, because you're pouring this into her. You're pouring this into her friends and other youth around the area. Now it's your turn. I have people. I have a huge support group, which is amazing. But you know that people sometimes see in you what you don't see in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to kind of just wake up and say, you know what? At this point, it's time for me to step up, because their eyes watching. So that was the inspiration. Is just having my daughter and watching her grow.
Mm-hmm. Sean, you mentioned something about confidence, man, and uh, I coached First and foremost, I got my start in, I want to say, in this type of industry of speaking as a juvenile probation.
Wow.
So I dealt with the raw, let's just say the raw
Yeah.
individuals. Then I left and went. Then I started coaching. I coached in, Pop Warner League, middle school, high school. Finished at a high school level. And you mentioned confidence, and I think none of us kids know they can read BS, period, because they're very intuitive. What was it about the confidence, man, that you just all of a sudden it just blossomed and said, wait a minute, this is where I'm supposed to be, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to change these young people's minds. When did that light bulb just finally click?
Uh, it was a process, really. It was the doing it anyway, in spite of the fears that I was facing. Was just okay. I have this concern. Am I able to do it? You know what? I got to do it anyway, and I got to do it anyway, and I got to do it anyway. And I kept doing that over and over and over again until I was able to have enough self confidence that I can handle it. Studying, reading, doing the research. Finding mentors, getting all the knowledge I can. The knowledge is really what started to give me the confidence that I could really put it together. And action. You know, build creates activity, and that builds results. And so as I started getting results, I was like, oh, okay, I can actually do it. And the thing for me was seeing the need. There was such a huge need for youth development, and still is a great need for it. And when you see a young adult actually get something, get a concept, get an idea, get from maybe selling drugs on the corner to starting to do something positive with their life, when you start to see that change actually happens, then that's motivating. And then you're no longer concerned about the doubts and fears you have. You just press through anyway.
Hmm. You said something that I always used to say all the time is, activity equals opportunity, opportunity equals results. So just
Absolutely.
taking those steps and moving forward, man, only would lead to positive things. Thank you both for getting me started with that. Let's hit my subject line tonight, which is selfish. And although everybody thought I was talking about the act of being for themselves, it's actually taking on two different meanings. Each letter has a different word that's associated with them. The S, serving others, which I believe is important. The E, empower all you can, having an impact on everybody. L, lift up those around you. F, fellowship with others. I, invest in yourself. S, see the beauty all around. And H, have fun along the way. That's what life's about. Sean, let's take the first one. Serve others. You do a phenomenal job of doing that right now. Let's kind of touch base on how is that important to you in your life.
Well, it's crucial for what it is that I do, because leaders serve, and the leaders have to be the greatest servants. And by especially when we talk about serving the youth, there's such a huge need all over the world. Motivation is a universal language, and so youth all over the world need to be motivated, need to believe that they can do something. So when we start talking about serving, we need to be able to give them that, and not focusing on ourselves and our needs, understanding that our needs will be taken care of, but just pouring out and constantly pouring out into the youth, and giving them what it is that they need. Serving is ultimately fulfilling a need, and that's what we look to do.
Mm, thank you. Thank you. Karen, serving others.
Absolutely. And Sean hit it right on the head. Serving others is filling a need. That serving others is what drives me. It's what I've done all my life through helping with the youth and helping with adults and helping pull things together. Just being of help. It used to be a bad habit for me to always say, are you okay? Is there something I can help with? So when it comes to serving others, especially being in the event space, it's amazing because you have to humble yourself, number
Mhm.
one, and you have to be able to see, okay, well, what is it that this person is looking to do? My goal is to always make sure that people are moved, touched, and inspired by every experience that they have, and reaching out to all of the different senses to be able to excite the entire being, not just the physical, but your mind, your smells, your touch. So with all of those, having to serve is a pleasure. Being in the hospitality industry, that's what you do. You're there to help other people enjoy that space and time because you can't get that back. So, I endeavor to always make sure that people are having a great time, being comfortable, enjoying the space at the end, regardless of what the situation is. So, serving others is definitely, like Sean said, feeling that need and being there to be, on call or be ready when somebody has a need to be able to say, hey, how can I help?
I love it. I love it. And just what I talked about at the very beginning. Remember, I said that I went from a life that was I viewed it as being transactional, being able to everything is just a business transaction, so to speak. You're doing something for me, I'm doing something for you. That's it. And there was no feeling, no heart behind it. To moving, serving others is transformational. It is getting the feeling of gratitude, the feeling of fulfillment when you know that you are doing something special for others that are there. That's so just so key, and that is what, like both of you said, it's what we're truly called to do. And during this space and time, as we're going and we're trying to rebuild our nation, rebuild our country through the worst pandemic in history, through abuse, through social injustices. It's serving others has never been more key, and I hope all those that are listening are taking that to heart. Let's move to that E, empower. I think this is monumental, and I go through it every single day. I a lot of people know that what I do for a living here in the Baltimore area is I work with individuals who are reentry. By reentry, for those who don't know, they are just getting out of prison, and they all their life is that they have felt that they've been wronged and been stuck. So it's my job, my goal is to make sure to show them, empower them, that they are better than their circumstance. Their past does not define who they are. And that's an enjoyment that I have, whether I'm doing it here, whether I'm having an opportunity to go speak in the neighborhood, where I'm having an opportunity to speak in DC. Being able to empower all I can gives me that other feeling of what we just talked about, serving others. What about you, Karen? What do you feel about empower all you can?
I love that word. Empowering to me gives people the ability to recognize the power that is within themselves. So anytime you can open up a door or give them that avenue, it's a beautiful day. Empowering others means allowing them to really have a belief and build a belief in themselves. So with whatever it is that you're doing, and again, I keep going back to the event space, but in anything that you do, when you allow someone to recognize who they are inside and then allow them the space to let that shine without judgment, that is what I think of empowering others. And one of the things that we do within the event space is we sit down and it's like, okay, what is it that you want? What is it that you see? What do you dream? What is it that you're looking for? What brings you joy? So when I hear those things, I put that into the event, and so they feel at the end of the event, they feel empowered because now they know, wow, I do matter. I have something within me that other people can see because now their vision has been brought to light. So I empower my clients to be able to see that and feel comfortable sharing that with me.
Thank you, Sean. Empower all you can.
I like what Karen said. I wrote it down. It was is recognize, helping people recognize who they are inside, and I think that's great, and that's really what empowering is to me. It's giving people fuel to drive and to go after their dreams. Right? Power means the ability to get results, and so we talk about empowering. It's giving someone else the ability to get the results in their life. And so when we talk about working with youth, that's what we're doing, because we don't know who the next president's going to be. We don't know the person that's going to, cure some of the major diseases and things going on in the world. But if we can empower them to believe in themselves through what it is that we do, the work that we do, then maybe they could be the person that does it. Maybe we can have a little place in their life where we would say could be able to say we impacted them to do that.
Which falls right into the L. Lift up those around you. You do that on a daily basis, right, man? Go ahead. You start this off.
Yeah, yeah. Lift up those around you. It's well, the thing is that when hurt people, and happy people spread joy. And so when lifting up someone else around you, you actually feel better about yourself. If you ever have a bad day, one of the best ways to get over having a bad day or feeling bad about yourself is to find someone else and make them feel better about themselves, whether it's at the grocery store, at the gas station, the mall, whatever, lifting up someone else, because you can't give love and not get it back in return. And so with what we do with the youth is really important, because they're in our community. They are us, as we see them all over, and as we lift them up, we're lifting up ourselves as well. But more importantly, allowing them to see that they're greater than, their present circumstances.
Mm-hmm. Very good. I agree. Karen, what do you think?
Absolutely. You would be utterly amazed at how a simple smile or a kind word, how far that can go. Everywhere you go, you have the opportunity to lift up another person. If we all did just small, random acts of kindness on a daily basis, the whole world would be a better place. We'd all be able to just breathe and be comfortable. We talk about all the destruction and all the negativity that's happening right now, but even in these times, we're able to lift up the people around us by just simply being kind. You know, like Sean said, as you see people that day to day at the grocery store, at the gas station, wherever they are, it could be just a simple smile. It could be just a simple hello. Or if you see somebody, a lot of times the people think that they go unnoticed, like the workers, the people that are front line to all of this stuff that's happening. Just thank them for their being at work. Those are the kind of things, those small kind words lift people up all the time. And so if you make that a habit, even if you, like, I have a challenge. I want to make sure that I touch somebody different, someone new, and lift up somebody every single day that I'm outside or even on the phone. So you say hello, you smile. People can hear you smiling through the phone. So
Mm-hmm.
those things, lifting up people or lifting up those around you, is something that you can do every day, all day. And it really makes a big difference in the energy that surrounds you as well.
Absolutely. I was always taught emotion creates emotion. So when
Yeah.
you're up and you're high, when you're feeling good and you're exuberating that's what you're going to get in return. When I wrote in series, the last series, Procrastination and Thief of Time, I wrote something in there entitled Glow. And I used the extra W. And I said that was gratitude living, others will witness. And
Hmm.
every day that I walk out this house, or every day that I get on the phone, or every Zoom call that I have, or every meeting that I have, nobody's going to see me, no matter what's going on in my life. They're not going to see me in that element. You're going to see me, and you're going to think that I don't have a care in the world, because I don't. Honestly, I don't. That's just stuff. That's
Right.
just stuff that's going on around me. My impact is on you. I have to do what I can do to, as I always say, I can leave you bitter, or I can leave you better. The choice
That's
is
right.
on me. I have to take ownership of that. So yeah, both of you correct. What we're doing right now is the F, fellowship with others.
Mhm.
Fellowship with others. Like minds think alike. Like individuals that have the same cause, same drive, same energy, they generally, kinetically, they're going to bond.
Mhm.
I say all the time, you have an opportunity to either have a circle or have a cage,
Hmm.
with the individuals that are with you. That's just your choice. So I strongly believe that it's no mistake that you're seeing Sean Banks, Karen Clark Redden tonight, because this is fellowship with others that are like-minded in this type of serving industry, who definitely utilize what we're talking about. So I think it's so important that individuals get together, individuals talk, individuals share a common message, because the only way we are going to get to the next level, or get to a space and time to where we truly heal, is if everybody takes the opportunity to fellowship with each other. And that's just my take. What do you think, Karen? I'm going to start with you first this time before we go to Sean.
Okay, I agree with that. That's absolutely correct. One of the things that we do, I started doing tea talks. I call it Devonshire Tea Talks, and the reason we did that was because the value of fellowship, being able to connect, and people are moving day to day. Sometimes you don't stop and just breathe or connect and realize that you're not alone in some of these struggles. You're not the only one that's going through it. So when you get to connect with like minds, like I like to think iron sharpens iron. So if we're getting together with like minds, we're brainstorming, we can bring together change in our communities because we're all together and we're talking about it. If we're sitting in our individual silos without the fellowship, we can't grow. So we need to come together and be able to talk. So fellowship for me is very important. And you, again, that's something that you can kind of put into your day, put it into your week. Stop and call someone that you haven't talked to and say, hey, let's get together for a cup of tea or what have you, just to kind of network and see what new ideas can we bring to the forefront of what it is that we're doing in our communities.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Sean?
Uh, Fellowship is a to me is a great way to recharge your battery. You know, when you get with people that are like minded, especially with people that are like minded, and surround yourself with people that are doing great things, you recharge your battery. You get, you know, like Karen said, you get ideas. You can bounce ideas off of each other, but you leave feeling uh, energized. You know, you leave feeling empowered actually, just from fellowshipping with other people. And that's the reason why conferences are important, seminars are important. You know, that's the reason why, you know, where you worship is important, because from that you leave with that energy. It's like a washing, if you will, when you get around people that are positive and moving forward, and you know, can give ideas, or you know, can just listen, right? It just really makes a difference. So fellowship is critical.
I agree. I'm gonna move to the I, which I think is important. Invest in yourself. I every podcast and every message that I write from transparency. And what I mean by that is, for those who are just new to listening to this, I write from where I was to where I'm going, where I want to be. And there's that area inside there that I'm not proud of, and I don't not talk about areas of not being proud of it. And a lot of it was because I didn't take the time to get to know who I was. I was too busy wanting to be somebody else that I wasn't. I was too busy trying to please the masses instead of taking care and investing in myself. I made it a point to take the time to slow down, to begin to process who I was. And I realized again through my mirror, which I wrote a message on mirror as well, that Mark's an okay guy. You know, Mark's got some things that he's working on, but guess what? Mark has some things that's positive that he can contribute. And I always go back and think about all the times that I get on an airplane, as I fly quite frequently, except for the pandemic, then I had to keep my behind still. But during that, I always, love the part when the stewardess comes on, or and they talk about the fact that if once you receive a certain degree of altitude, if there's sudden cabin pressure, the oxygen mask will drop. Take the mask, put it on yourself first, and then if you're traveling with a young child or someone else, assist them, give the mask to them. You can't give that mask to them if you're not investing or taking care of yourself. If you're not whole, or you're not working towards that holistic approach, then how can you take care of somebody else? So, Sean, how about investing in yourself? I'm sure, man, you spent many, many hours since where you are right now investing in yourself.
Absolutely, and I still do. I still spend a lot of time investing in myself, because you know, when you're dealing with people, when you're serving, you have to operate in the overflow if you're going to be able to sustain what it is that you're doing. You know, if you're operating on an empty tank, then you don't have anything left to give. And a lot of times, you know, a lot of business owners or leaders experience burnout because we're so busy giving to so many people all over, but we're not putting things back in for ourselves because we feel it's being selfish. But it's not being selfish. The thing is, it's being selfless, because you understand that you're pouring out, you're committed to pouring out. So you have to be able to fill that tank. So, you know, for me, that looks like, you know, reading. I read a lot. I'm a ferocious reader. I read, you know, go to seminars, I look at videos, anything to be able to get an edge in what it is that I'm doing. I rest. I used to not go to sleep. I used to think that I need to be up all night, but now I realize how important it is to get a good night's sleep, how sharp my mind is. I exercise a lot. I try to eat as healthy as I can, you know, and until like something like the Super Bowl is coming, I can't wait to get some wings or something like that. But anyway, you know, try to make sure that, you know, we're taking care of ourselves, and it's important. It's real important.
Hmm. Karen, invest in yourself.
Yes. That is investing in yourself is huge, and Sean just hit all the key points. It's one of the things that you have to live by. You cannot give to others what you don't have for yourself. So when he talked about operating from a depleted tank, that's critical. And I too used to stay up. I used to think that sleep is for the weak. You need to keep going and going and going and going, not realizing that your brain can't function when you don't have rest. Children grow when they sleep. It's amazing how, especially over COVID, I don't know if people noticed, but some of the kids, it looks like they went to sleep and they woke up 2 feet taller. It's because they're now getting a lot more rest than they were, running around without all of the stuff going on. So one of the things that I like is you have to give yourself grace. I have to give myself grace. I have to allow myself that time to rest. I have to make sure that I'm constantly reading, constantly feeding my mind. I'm going to be a perpetual student. I'm always looking for the next class. What else can I learn? What else can I see? What else can I do differently? Okay, so you know how to do this. One of the things that I've been saying recently is whatever you thought you knew yesterday, you don't know today. So you have to learn something else. The world is forever changing. Like you said earlier, Mark, the only thing that's constant is change. So you have to invest in yourself so that you can be the best that you can be, so that you're able to serve others and give to others. And all of the things that we talked about in the beginning, if you're serving others, if you're empowering others, you can only do that if you invest in yourself.
Mm.
With the seminars, all the different things that Sean just said is exactly why it's important. You matter. That's one of the things that my daughter says in her own presentation is you matter. So give yourself grace, invest in yourself, the time, for good health, the mental. You have to do that. So I definitely believe in investing in yourself.
I'm gonna stay there for a second because I'm feeling that this portion right here is really going to help somebody get to another level. And I just want to ask, just from both of your perspectives, and the listeners who are out there as well, why is it that we don't? We all talked about how we feel that if we stop and rest, we're gonna miss something. We'll go, 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 go until that point. I was always told that, if you don't stop, your body's gonna stop you at some point.
Right.
Your
Yeah.
body's gonna pump the brakes if you
Yep.
don't do it. So, I'm gonna start with you, Karen. Why don't we do that? Why, in your opinion, why don't we stop and invest in ourselves?
I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes you get caught up in what other people might think. You get caught up in the mindset of keeping up with whomever that group is that you want to keep up with. You get caught up in sometimes for me, I gave to my own detriment. I'm addicted to helping others. Like I love helping people. So I'll continue to help and help you and help you and help the next person and forget that I also need help. That's one of the hardest things for me to do is to say, can you help me? But I can easily say, hey, how can I help you? So investing in myself is a learned behavior because it didn't come automatic. For some reason, it was automatic for me to want to help. I put it back to my family. I have a big family. So, being one of the oldest, that's kind of the role that I've taken on is I have to have it all together. I have to be the one to help you. So investing in myself is critical and it's important and it's a learned behavior because it didn't come naturally. So that's that's why it's hard for me.
Thank you, Sean. Why don't
Uh,
we invest in ourselves?
I think from a like a self care perspective, I think that a lot of times we don't take care of ourselves or invest in ourselves in that perspective because we're you know kind of programmed to think that you should sleep when you're dead, right? That you should you got to constantly be going if you want the dream, and those things are true. You should constantly go if you want the dream, but you have to replenish yourself, right? You have to pour back into yourself. You have to rest to be functional if you want to do it for a long time. And I know a lot of times those ideas are for people that tend not to want to get up and work. And so a lot of the go-getters think that it applies to them as well. That okay, I just gotta just run and gun, run and gun, run and gun. And yeah, there's a time for that, but there's also a time, like Karen said, your brain actually repairs itself when you rest. When you go on that vacation, because what are you working so hard for if you're not going to enjoy it? Right?
Mhm.
What money is to be enjoyed, right? The things you do is to be enjoyed with other people, right? So if you're not going out to eat and doing those nice things that you've worked so hard for, always waiting to get to a destination, it'll never happen because success is a process, like we said before. And then on the other side of investing in yourself from a business standpoint, I think that a lot of people just we don't realize how important it is. A lot of times we feel like we already know it, we already have the knowledge, or we might be intimidated to ask for help, to say, well, they might think something about me if I say, man, hey, will you help me? Right? I don't need anybody's help. But no man is an island, or no person is an island. You have to get help, and getting that knowledge makes you so much better. And then the other thing is that some people are just flat out lazy. They don't want to get the knowledge. They don't want to work to be able to. They don't want to read. They don't want to have to go to a seminar or a workshop, and so they lose out because of that. Because the knowledge Everybody has something great to offer. It could be one phrase, one word, one idea that just totally revolutionizes your business or the trajectory of your business. But if you're not there to get it, or you're not in a book to find out, you won't get it.
I agree. I agree. I'm gonna switch to the S, which is see beauty all around. When COVID first hit, it was a I think I pretty much speak for everybody. It was a shock. When I shocked, meaning we had to invest in ourselves. We began that process of starting to invest in ourselves because we had to slow down. And
Mhm.
we were forced to slow down because you had to kind of take the time. Like I tell everybody, it was a scary time for some because they really had to live with themselves. They had to get
Yeah.
to know who they were. And for me, it really gave me a new appreciation of the smallest things. And when I talk a lot or talk at different places, I talk about the magnification and the beauty of an ant.
Mm.
And everybody looks at me and like, Mr. Smith or Mark, what do you mean the beautification of an ant? I said the ant serves a major purpose in life, just like we all do. The fact of the matter is, we always talked about that time when we were kids or did something else. When you saw an ant, the first thing that most people did was they killed that ant outdoors. But do you realize what the significance of that ant is? And do you realize the significance of everything else that it contributes to in our society, in our world? So seeing the small things of beauty that are all around us, seeing the trees bloom, really listening to the birds. I mean, man, I bought a book that I can actually sit down and actually get to play it, and you can hear the bird sound. It will spit back and tell me what type of bird that was. Prior to that, I didn't do that. I talk a lot about in my speeches and talk about how it took me over 40 years to truly slow down, get to that point to where I slept to recharge, to get my body right, to get my mind right. And then just as you talked about before, Karen, that's when I grew. I grew mentally, I grew spiritually, I grew stronger. I became the strongest person I could be. So I'm come with you first, Sean. How important is see beauty all around to you?
Uh, it's more important now than it was when I was younger. When I was younger, it was, I had a destination mentality. A lot of it was, man, I'll enjoy it when I get there. I'll enjoy it when I get there. And as I've matured, I realized that no, you better enjoy it while you're going, because you never know when you're gonna get there, and getting there may not necessarily be what it is that you want. So you enjoy the journey. And I think that that's what it is just enjoying the journey. Every single day you wake up making a choice to be happy. We can't choose the things that happen to us all the time, but we can make a choice about our attitude. We can make a choice about our happiness, and if we choose to be happy. And I think you're absolutely right. During that COVID time when it first hit, is jarring as it was for all of us, and some more than others. There was a certain time where there was just like a peace, because everything was still and everything was so slow. And I think that we really see it now with people with a lot of ideas and concepts and revolutionary thinking that's coming, because people had a chance to slow down and say, you know what, I don't think I want to do that anymore. I never had a chance to realize that I really didn't like that, and now I want to do something else. And so we're seeing that. We're seeing the results of people slowing down, seeing the beauty around, and seeing like the beautiful ideas, like actually slowing down to hear what it is that God was telling them all this time.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're seeing it, and it's like, wow, okay, like now I know what I'm gonna do. And that's part of that seeing the beauty all around. I think that's what it does for people.
Mm-hmm. Karen, what about you?
I completely agree with both of you. I mean, seeing the beauty all around is really about enjoying the journey, truly taking the time to, like they say, stop and smell the roses. With COVID, you didn't have a choice. One of the things that I learned is that because of the being able to work from home and homeschooling my daughter, already being in that home space, it wasn't as jarring for me as it was for a lot of my friends. But one of the things that they called me is, how do you do it? How do you, what are you doing every day? How do you get through this? How do you not, go stir crazy? Part of it is enjoying the journey. Literally going out to, walking out to the bus stop when she was in school, we go to the bus stop and every day we pay attention to the sunrise. As Marcus, you talk about paying attention to the ant, looking around, looking at the squirrels run and play, and actually sitting and stopping and watching them play. that's therapeutic because our daily lives are so full with electronics and emails and phones ringing and text messages and all these different things that are grabbing for our attention. You have to mentally stop to say, you know what, let me just take a deep breath. Let me enjoy the journey. Let me see what's actually around. And like Sean said, those ideas that are popping out of that piece is amazing. One of the things that probably a lot of people didn't realize is the sky actually got bluer
Mhm.
when everything was locked down because of the lack of the pollution and the lack of movement. So the grass got a little bit greener. Nature had a chance to reset itself during that space when we weren't out, kind of messing it up and fumbling around. So when
Mhm.
you talk about seeing the beauty, I actually see past the people, so to speak, and I see the beings that we are, the spiritual energy that's all around us in this planet, and the things that we can tap into if we just calm down just a little bit and listen. Like Sean said, if you could just quiet yourself, just sit and just listen to those different ideas and those different thoughts. Like Mark talked about, take a moment to just look and see the beauty around you. The sounds, there's just beauty everywhere, but you have to take time to see it. And so that's what it means to me, just really enjoying the journey and doing it deliberately.
Mhm. I'm an analytical type person. So I heard the word journey from both of you 9 times
Wow.
that we've talked nine
Wow.
times, and that's about having fun along the way.
Yeah.
That's the H in selfish, having fun along the way. This is a journey. Life is
Hmm.
truly a journey, and you go through. You just don't go through to get through. You go through to enjoy the moment. And I think all three of us will say, and anybody listening, that there's been some tough moments in all of our lives, and some of
Yeah.
us maybe still have tough moments or things that are to come. But I think the major thing that I've learned in having fun along the way is what I talked about before. Is I used to live my life transactional. I live my life transformational now. And when you live a life transformational and you live your life to serve others and you live life to empower others, you have fun along the way. Every day is a blessing. Every day is a great day. And I tell everybody that I speak to, you can't get me off my square. You can't. I don't care what you do. You can't get me off my square. I'll start with you, Karen. Having fun along the way.
That's easy. You have to have fun. I mean, that's this smile. I'm constantly smiling. I'm constantly looking for the next thing. Okay, how can we make this fun? That's the running joke in my house. I'm always making life an adventure because we're surrounded with negativity. You don't have to really look for the negativity because it's already right there in your face. So you have to deliberately, and I keep using that word, you have to deliberately have fun. Take time to laugh. Don't take yourself too seriously because life is going to give you all that it's got. The good, the bad, the ugly. It's going to give it to you. So you have to kind of take the space to say, hey, you know what? This is funny. We were laughing just as we were getting ready, for the call in itself. It's like, okay, what about this? What about that? And I'm thinking, okay, let me get this together. And we kind of had a laugh. Look, don't take it too seriously. You don't have to set up a studio, that kind of thing. So you always have to find the funny in every moment. There's always something to smile about. So having fun along the way, that's really what, to take it back to my event planning company, that's what I love to do. Love to have people having fun. That's it. That's why I said that's easy.
Mm, thank you, Sean.
Yeah. Everything that Karen said, man, what y'all said, it's spot on. I mean, happiness is a choice. Having fun is one of the rules that we have at camp. There's 4 rules. One's respect, second's discipline. The third one is to encourage each other. The fourth one is to have fun. And that is so important, especially for the youth and for adults as well, because we're spending so much time working and just, grinding and pushing. And it's like, how many people are really having fun every single day? And most people don't have fun on their jobs or their careers. They don't have fun when they come home. They don't have fun. They just never really happy. And life's not designed to be that way. And it creates stress. And that's what brings sickness in our lives. And so, happiness is a choice. Like you said, not letting anybody take you off your square, that regardless of what happens, I'm going to laugh and I'm going to enjoy life. And when you see something funny, laugh about it. A
Mhm.
lot of times people don't like to see you laugh and they don't like to see you happy because they're trying to figure out why you happy. Why you laughing? Why you think everything is funny? But it's like, man, I mean, would you rather see me crying all the time? Then you'd be like, why are you crying all the time? So being happy is a choice, and it's a job. It's a responsibility because it's not always easy when things are happening in life. When you have challenges, you get knocked down, you got to get back up, and you get tired and you get frustrated and you got to get back up. And sometimes, man, you got to just laugh at yourself for where you are. Like, God, dog, man, how I get back here again? I mean, just to be able to fuel yourself, to be able to keep going. So having fun along the way is very important. That's what makes your life rich, right? It's not about all this money. We think that a lot of times in society that money's going to bring all this happiness, and it doesn't. You bring happiness. How many people we know don't, just you see people, they don't have a lot of money at all, but they're happy. And then we see people and they're rich at the top of the world. Look at what happened to Miss America, right? Just a beautiful woman that had all this talent, all those things, but there was something that was missing. And we're like, well, how can that be possible? There was something that was missing, right? So happiness along the way is important. And I'll say this: it's also important that when you see people that aren't happy, man, to spread that love, man, spread that happiness. Like Karen said, a smile. I mean, you might save somebody's life just by smiling. You may never know what they're going through, man. But they see you smile, and it's like, man, somebody care about me. You can actually save somebody's life from that, man. So happiness is critical.
Absolutely, I agree. We got one last question I kind of want to ask you guys. Thank you both for helping me outline selfish this evening. One last question. I'm gonna start with you first, Sean. If you could leave our listeners tonight and anybody listening around the world or who will play this back again, if there's one word that you could leave them while they were going through a storm in their life, what would that word be and why?
Joy, joy. The word would be joy, and the reason why I say that, and it's funny, it popped in my head, the joy of the Lord is my strength, because we're talking about happiness and just having, and there's a difference, right? So happiness is temporal, but joy is everlasting. Having that joy in your life, regardless of what it is that you're going through, and not allowing anything to take your joy away. My word would be joy, for sure.
Karen, how about you? One word.
That's tough. Um, I like what Sean said, but I would say push. You're going through that storm, as they say. Trouble doesn't last always. Know that if you keep moving forward, you're constantly moving forward. You're going to get to the other side of it. When you actually take the time, that sometimes you look back and say, "Wow," like Mark, you talk about where I've been through. Look at what I've come through. And sometimes it takes somebody on the other side or somebody on the outside to show you, "Hey, look, do you realize you went through this? And do you realize you got through that? And look at you now. You got through this and you're still okay and you're still growing." So I would say push. Don't be afraid to push. I think I read it somewhere. It says, push until something happens. Just keep moving forward, because if you're in that storm, it's just temporary. Nothing is going to stay the same. Change, as Mark said, change is always going to happen. That's inevitable. So if you push, you can win. You'll get to the other side of it and you're not alone.
Mm, thank you both. I would say for me, it would be walk or continue because life it runs so fast on all of us, and we outlined it collectively more and more. But if we continue while we're going through that storm, we're gonna get out of it. If we stop, it stays in us. But if we continue to walk, we continue to drive, we continue to push, we continue to focus, it's going to go inside of us and it's going to continue to move us to where we need to go. So I would tell anybody while you're going through, if you go through, when you go through, because we all have them. When you go through your storm, I want you to uh, continue to push, continue to drive. I want to thank Karen Clark Red, Mr. Sean Banks. I want to thank you both tonight. Again, it's not mine. It's God's design. God said to place these two people to cover selfish tonight in this platform to what we need to do. I truly appreciate what you're doing in your communities. I truly appreciate what you're doing in your homes, and I truly appreciate leaving the legacy of what we talked about to move forward. And I tell everybody, legacy for me, legacy stands for leaders exemplify greatness among choices over the years. And that's what
Hmm.
you two do. So thank you very much for your time tonight.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
All right. Everybody. Well, it's not goodbye. I can't say it again. It's not goodbye. There's a couple things that I want. Hopefully, you got out of this. Hopefully, something that's really powerful that you will continue to remain is that one, you can push through anything. Two, you should invest in yourself. Three, have fun along the way. Life wants to certain elements in life want to cause us for stagnation. And I always talk about stagnation as being as something that's not for any of us. We're all called to grow, and we're all called to grow forward. So take it upon yourself. Leave somebody better every single day. Have that conversation with somebody, your neighbor, the individual at the grocery store, the lady in the in the shopping mall, somebody. Let them see that glow inside your eyes. Let them see who you are and radiate that what's inside you to permeate inside them. We are truly going through a tough time still. I alluded to it before. We still have a lot of things that need to be healed in our country. We got a lot of things that need to be healed in our homes and in our hearts. But most importantly, we need to heal what's in our head as well. Society has told a lot of us that we are less than, but you're not. You are there. Society has told a lot of us that we can't do something when we really can do it. You have the power to do it. And society has really drove a nail and said that we're not equal, but we are equal. Each one of us have that power and that gift to get to the next level. And I encourage you, once we get to that level, grab somebody, pull them up to that level. I've always said that if one changes two, two changes four, four changes eight, and guess what? We have a society that is built on helping and changing others. So, I want to thank Beacon of Light Health for sponsoring the process. Dr. Natasha Porter. I want to thank Go Giga Productions, Toya and Janet for a phenomenal run. We're not done, ladies. We're just going to take a little short pause and we're coming back. And we're coming back even stronger. I want to thank everybody who supported the live show, all my family and friends who've been there through the beginning, who watched these growing pains. Don't forget the process. Don't forget you can find it on all the social media outlets. Anchor, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio is out there. Take a listen. And more importantly, share it with somebody. Help them do what you're truly supposed to do, and that's serve somebody to be better. I just want to thank you. I think it's so important again for me to be who I am, and that's humble but hungry. And I do salute you. I pray for you. God bless you, and I will see you soon.